those of you that don't know, this is my small prop box, and I pop in here basically any random wet sticks, just any cuttings that I've got left over after selling, or just things I need to chuck in something I don't have anywhere to put them, but I want them out of the way, and I thought I'd go through what I've got in there, because we've had some movement. So these are the cuttings from my prop box. So we've got a couple of scindapsus cuttings here, and you can see this one has rooted quite nicely. It's just been in there for quite a few months now, so to be honest, I do think it's quicker rooting them in water, and you can see that one again there. Now we've also got an assortment of these sticks down here. We've got a Rhaphidophora tetrasperma that's actually rotten. There we can see, so I'm actually going to cut that off. I don't think it's actually going to produce anything because of how and where it's rotted. It's actually rotted over where the growth would come out and here as well. So I don't think anything's going to happen there, but you never know, do you? I might give it a trim and chuck it back in and see what happens. Then we've got this Epipremnum pinnatum cutting. I did have this in water, but it kept rotting, so I tried putting it in here, and we do actually have some growth. Oh, it's really hard to focus. You can kind of see, let me put it on my pyjamas. There we are, you see that white bit there? That's actually a root. And then we've got another one down here. If I just flip the plant over, you can see it there. So we do have roots coming on that, so that's really exciting. I might actually chop this plant, and you can see loads and loads of points down here because it was quite leggy. And hopefully we can actually get some more and get a bushier plant. That would be pretty cool. So that's one of them. Then this is actually another Epipremnum pinnatum cutting. This one rotted, unfortunately. It got a bit too close to the damp side, but we don't seem to have much root growth on this yet. As you can see, this one also suffered with rotting. So hopefully this will do something. There were less nodes on this as well, so we will see. Then we've got my assortment of wet sticks. So we've gone through that one. This tiny little thing is actually a mycans. And it was just a spare little node. And I thought, why not chuck it in there? And look, we've got growth. It's so tiny. Just to give you an idea, my hands are like a child size anyway. So this is really small. And we've got root and we've got a little bubble. Look at that little bubble. Then down here we've got this scindapsus, which again was a wet stick, and that has produced a teeny little baby leaf, a little baby root, and we've got another little leaf coming, so that's really cute. I should probably trim all the rest of this off, but it makes it easier to find it in the moss. And then we've also got this, which is genuinely hilarious, because the camera's not even going to focus on this, it's so small. Look at that. I don't even know what it is. I think it's a mycans cutting, but that is possibly the smallest leaf I have ever seen in my entire life. It's adorable. It's like a micro plant. Like, it's literally smaller than one of the stars on my pyjamas. And we have got a tiny little root, which is definitely not going to be picked up either. Oh, there you go. You can see it on the opposite side to the leaf. I think it's also got a little second leaf unfurling at the moment. It's so cute. Then here we've got another mycans cutting with a baby leaf. This one's a little bit bigger, but it's got one hell of a root in comparison. Again, I need to trim it, but it makes it easier to find them when they're bigger. Then we also have some more here. So what haven't we seen? We haven't seen this one. So this is, I think mycans, could be a scindapsus, but we've got some root growth there, and I think we should get a leaf from that soon as well. How funny. And then maybe I should start a business selling miniature plants. And then this again is, I'm not really sure, but I think a mycans, could be a scindapsus. And we're getting some rooties grow there as well. And we seem to have a growth point just there. So we'll see what happens. And then these are the naughty ones because they haven't really done the thing. We've got some more of these random sticks. In all fairness, those random sticks that you see with growth on them have been there for literal months. So we're just going to chuck these back in and see what happens. And this scindapsus that just really doesn't want to root. But the new growth hasn't rotted either, so, you know, can't complain. So I hope you enjoyed my very random prop box. I highly recommend having one of these, by the way. You can get some really nice surprises just by chucking in the odd node and forgetting about it and opening it up once a month. I just try and make sure that it is kept damp and fluffy, and I spray it every now and often, sometimes with some root spray as well from Clonex, just to try and encourage it. God knows if it does anything, but it's a fun experiment, isn't it? And it's a great way to start learning how to propagate wet sticks, so that when you graduate up to the more expensive ones, you have some kind of an idea what you're doing. Hope you enjoyed it. We could also have a look at this prop box, which is for my bigger plants, obviously. So here, this is what's left of the marmay. You can see we've had serious root rot, but we do have this tiny little glimmer of hope. Right on the side of the rot is a growth point. I've been treating it with hydrogen peroxide, so I think we're just going to have to hope for the best on this one. But I must say that the pastazanum that arrived with it is doing really, really well. This is my anthurium, which is an anthurium medium. As you can see, the leaf's in pretty good shape. Let's just give it a little wiggle. We can show you the roots. So we've got these, which are the roots on this. They have basically dried out a little bit, but I've been putting on, I can actually see some white root growth, which is really important. So hopefully, let's try and put this in front of something so you can see it better. There we go. So you can actually see some small areas of white root growth. So I'm hoping that this will start rooting properly soon, and we can start doing something more exciting with this. Though I do think it probably needs some trimming, because again, root rot was not my friend. The roots arrived really dry and had gone all crisp and basically dried up and shriveled, which ain't the best. I have yet another root rot disaster. This is actually an Anthurium magnificum hybrid, but we do again have hope, and that is this little green growth point here. So that's quite exciting. We may have lost all the leaves, but we definitely have some hope, and we can also see a really tiny another green little growth point there, and then obviously this is a new root starting. So there is definite hope, and the stem isn't squishy. It was just the leaves that decided to bow out, and we had some really nice pink growth points on the bottom as well. So hopefully this will bounce back, and by this time next year we'll have a real plant. Is a Epipremnum pinnatum variegata cutting. So I've actually had this in moss, but it just wasn't enjoying it, and I also, it arrived with some leaf burn basically, that I think got a bit fungal, because it got stuck to the sort of wet side of my cookie jar. So I've actually removed it from that and popped it in some water instead, because I've heard sort of good things from people. I might put a tiny bit of fertiliser in the water as well, just to give it something to eat. But yeah, I'm going to try it in this and see if this helps it root a bit faster, because people do say that it tends to root pretty fast, so it's slightly frustrating. Let me show you the situation we got down here. So there's no root rot or anything like that. It's a little bit of potential rot just there, but I have sprayed it again. We can see where the aerial roots are, but it's quite a small node. So yeah, I've popped some stuff on it. We can also see the start of where the next new growth point is coming there. You can see a tiny little bump. So hopefully this will spring back, and we should get something from that pretty soon as well. By no means least is this Anthurium crystallanium that I received in the same order as the Magnificum. Both of them arrived with terrible root rot, but again, we have managed to keep this leaf on this one. It did arrive with two, but you can see that it did get quite severely damaged by the root rot. But so far so good. I've had it for about a month and have managed to keep this leaf on it. Let me try and show you what the root situation is like without disturbing it too much. So you can see we've got some healthy green roots coming down there, and we do actually have a pink growth point just there that has grown quite considerably since I have had it in moss. So we've definitely got a more positive situation going on than we had. It was, you can see where I've had to remove and snip some of the roots because it was really pretty disastrous down here. And I have now treated it with some hydrogen peroxide to try and stop any further rot. Hopefully that will stop anything disastrous happening and we will get a new leaf at some point. She did say when she sent me this cutting that she'd had to remove the growth point because of rot. So I'm hoping that another one will pop up nice and soon and we can finally have a leaf that befits this beautiful plant.